So... Alright, yeah, so as I was saying, the stream actually disconnected because my internet is not doing so great. I'm gonna finish up this quest, and then I'm gonna talk about some writing stuff. Basically how to make, some strategies you can use for character development. And then I'm gonna just call it there because they're doing some now, I don't know. But in good news, I may have a job soon. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to jinx it. But it'd be cool and all, and I might have to give up streaming for a little while, um, right at the start. But then eventually I'll get back to it. Yeah, we're not gonna regret that at all. He's totally reformed.
General. What?
His organization would pave the way for a united Eorzea. Well do I understand his impatience, since facing the common threat of the Ultima weapon, our nations have seemed farther apart, not closer together. Considering the many problems we face, should we not be glad that someone else is taking the initiative?
We have all pledged our cooperation, yet the grumbling continues behind closed doors. All nation will achieve. With the inclusion of the finest soldiers of the 3 grand companies, it promises to be a fearsome military body. But whom will it serve? Even under the watchful gaze of the Scions, it is not unthinkable that such a force could perpetrate a great wrong. The Syndicate, that those unprincipled worms might forge this extraordinary gathering of war.
The hands of the finances, full many gave generously. And though our nobles proffered a sizable sum, their coin did not spill from the pockets of Lolorito and his cronies. And what of the presence of our stalwart adventurer friend in this endeavor? I doubt the warrior of light would betray our cause.
Yes, there is that, I suppose. Yet I have known people to change. Whether we will or no, the events of the age hurl us this way and that, like a dust not be done about to let.
All avenues available to us, your grace. But as Uldan law now stands, we lack...
Good our government! What worth the royal house? How deplorable this mockery of justice!
Have faith, your grace. It is not over.
I'll be right. get your calls, you got no choice but to answer. Okay. Oh. Seems like the lag's getting a bit better, so I'll just keep going. Okay, yeah, the lag is really getting on my tits, so alright. Yeah, so we're just gonna yeah, 'cause this is just making me insane. Especially considering the fact that I'm not feeling super great. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I've got all my here. All right, so here we go. What we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about developing characters. Matter of fact, we're going to come here. We're going to be like uh, developing characters. Make the subtitle how to make characters that are interesting and don't suck. All right, so um, let's start off with some of the research on this on the fly, so you guys are gonna kind of see how my my thinking works here. Okay, so uh, Lord, come on, enter. All right, yeah. So blah blah blah. Come on, why does it take so long for pictures? All right, glad I'm only gonna pick two characters this time. Okay, yeah. So let's get okay. All the dead air, but we are having to wait on things. Okay, so now we don't want stock images. Pictures, there we go. Alright, so where did I? So why am I saying that Ray is a problem character? Is it because I am some, self-hating, anti-feminist? No, fuck that. No. The reason this is a problem character, alright? Okay, so let's go in. Why is she a problem character? She's what we call a Mary Sue. All right, she is instantly and with no training able to perfectly perform feats that took other characters years to master. One example here is flying the Millennial Falcon. I misspelled millennium. I always misspell millennium. Alright. Wrong character. It's not because they hate the sandwich. And she did a great job with it. I got nothing but mad respect for her. No, the problem with the character, time her story concludes, she doesn't change. She doesn't grow. She doesn't get any. So she's Mary Sue. She she can do this, all right. So then we can also let's see what's the deal to arc. All right. I mean, think about it. She starts off, she's just perfect. She picks up the lightsaber, and I'm gonna tell you, women can use swords just as well as men. Women could be on the battlefield. I've seen the whole thing from Shadowverse. Hurt yourself. All right. I did the smart thing. I got a wooden sword shaped as I would, maybe bruise myself. Maybe if I was really super enthusiastic, break my leg or something. Well, I'm gonna tell you, wield that sword, do the swings, do the maneuvers and all, without hitting some part of my own body. Trying to, sword fight somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. Dude, I am gonna get so creamed. I mean, they are gonna just wipe the floor with me. Okay? But, she picks up that will slice through anything. And somehow she's wielding it perfectly. It never cuts her, never comes close to clipping her toes or the part of her shoulder or even accidentally giving herself a haircut. And she knows how to and all, and she can also just use the force and all. Even Luke couldn't do that, y'all. Luke, who was our hero, our chosen one and all, in the very first film, Obi-Wan puts that helmet on him and has him doing that thing with the little floaty ball that's busy focused on the ball with his eyes and all to use the force. And that's when he actually, does okay, but he still makes mistakes. Going to the second movie, he's impatient. He doesn't want to, wait around and learn all the stuff that Yoda's trying to teach him. Yeah, he wants to rush off. He thinks he's correct. He thinks that all he has to do is go and beat Darth Vader. You've got some things you need to deal with and you need to overcome, and that you're going to have to accept about yourself. At the end of the movie, you have to accept that's your dad. Spoilers, but you have to accept that this big bad guy that you have been taught to hate is your father. He's not lying. He's not freaking you out. He's not faking. He is legit your dad. Do you want to kill your dad? And, what does this mean if your father is this huge evil thing? What does that say about you? It causes all kind of, she is the same when we meet her. And then all of a sudden, Kylo Ren is all like, oh, I love her, and I want to have her babies, and then it's just, no. Kylo Ren shows more growth than Rey. He's actually a more interesting character. Alright. So, she's a replacement Luke for, she's a replacement Luke. That's all she is. Only she's not even a good Luke. She doesn't grow. She doesn't have any conflicts that she has to face within herself. She doesn't see where her own choices, her own decisions sometimes cause the problem, and that she has to look within her and say, okay, this is something about me that has to change. This is something I have to overcome. Now, she never has to do that. She's perfect. She's completely perfect. Why? Because Kathleen Kennedy is a shit writer. And don't get me wrong. George Lucas has great ideas, but he is not a very good screenwriter. All right, it was his wife who saved. Lucas had nobody who had the cojones to tell him no with the prequels, which is why they're not up there with the first three. All right, so she's a problem. All right, being a Mary Sue is not something you want to do. It's something you are going to do with your first few characters. All right, so let's put this in. All right, of the author producer. Guys, all of us when we were young, the very first time we ever saw Star Wars, we all wanted to be Jedis. We all wanted to fly the X-Wings. We all wanted to go blow up the Death Star. A few of us were even young enough that the Ewoks were kind of cool, and we wanted to be in the forest playing with the Ewoks because to us they were big cuddly teddy bears. We wanted to be all these kind of cool things, or we wanted to be their friends, and we wanted to insert ourselves into the story. Newsflash, you're going to do that. That in itself is not terrible. And insecure or inexperienced writer. This means no flaws, no traps, no where the problem is. A story is more than just the events of the greater plot. The story is the characters and how they grow. If your character does not grow, if your character is not different in some form, you really need to fix it. Alright. So, now let's look at the example of a character done right. Alright. Let's see. Yeah, actually, I'm going to see if I can find somebody else. Because I know what is going to happen if I use that character. Because they're going to be like, oh my god, you hate women. Oh my god, you're. Oh, I was just like, no, I can pick another one. Alright, so. Good character. Alright, come on. Yeah, I'm trying to. My internet is being so slow. It's slow. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, I'm seeing here where I've multi-posted to a bunch of discords because I keep getting DC'd. Oh, come on, quit. Oh, why you won't be this way, huh? Avoid, writing. Okay. So one thing I like. Let's do 2x2. All right, yeah. Okay. Something that I learned back when I was, LARPing. But okay, wait. Oh, seems like we've got some images that finally. All right. Let's see. All right. So let's come back to. Alright, so this is the lead character of Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. Alright, and that's a great series. So good character. Gonna be just Ben. Alright, so why is she a good character? Alright, she starts off timid, scared, weak. Alright, she quickly, okay, she knows she's got a few tricks. Alright, she knows that she can influence how people feel about her and about other things. She got this thing inside of her that lets her do it. All right, but she doesn't use it all the time because she doesn't always have access to it. It's not limitless, and since she doesn't know what causes it, she has no real control over it. All right, economical, and I mean in the sense of she's frugal. All right. So she starts off as, like I said, and he's always been telling her, yeah, I'm going to leave you. Everybody will abandon you. She's got a real fear of very anti-feminist world. All right. So these are the things that she's dealing with right off the bat. She's not strong. She's not pretty. She's not powerful, she's not rich, she's not related to anybody that she knows of that is in any way with thief ring. We'll call it that. Alright? She learns what her powers are, does not instantly master them. The whole 3 books is her getting increasingly, you're an allomancer, you're Mistborn, and she's like, oh yes, now I know what to do. No, she's like, wait, what? Okay, sequence, you know, and she can still be beaten. All right, there is no guarantee that just because she haven't, okay, she, spies on noble society. Let's just say the worst guy for her. She fights with, all right, she fights with him. And he shows some growth because they just completely get rid of the whole noble society. All right, he basically wants the commoners to take over. And she fights with him, her mentor, and she says, "You're wrong about this because you've never had to live on the streets like these people, like I have. You don't know it's like just some evil, dark, twisted, horrible person. Some of them are good." And she has to accept within herself that she's good too. And then, eventually, she, um, you know, so I'm just showing a little bit of her growth. I don't want to spoil the whole story for you. It's a really good series. You should definitely go check it out. I will put a link to it in the descriptions and all. All right. So, how do we avoid writing a bad or a weak character like Ray? All right. You need to have 2 columns. All right. So, we'll call this the good traits. Okay. Nah. Let's see. It's not what we're called. Um, yeah. All right. So back in the day when I played Vampire the Masquerade, we're talking this was like the late '90s. So it was to purchase um, a feat or greater ability in something, but you didn't. You had already spent all the points you were allocated during creation. Okay. Well, there were 2 standard ways to go about getting that. One, you could just level your character. You go to your law, the points you need to purchase that trait. Take some demerits. You could take some negative things, and you would have to actually make them work for your character. So I call these features and flaws. Strong, conventionally attractive. Notice I said attractive and not hot. Alright, because hot can be a flaw. Family, you're either raised well or your family is connected. Yeah, within average to 1 plus standard deviation beyond in intelligence. So we call this IQ 100 to 130. Because once you get beyond that, you start having some weird stuff. Alright, so those are some features, alright? Alright. Alright, well, okay, so we've got this same person. These are all good things, alright? Well, his flaw might be that he has PTSD, alright? But, you need to be careful whenever you close. Could say some other things. Maybe he's arrogant. Okay. Okay, so what's something else? Maybe he thinks, some principles that follow that. Okay. So now we've got some flaws that balance out some of the, what we would consider pretty standard. Alright? See, the thing is, if he has a fear of abandonment, but he never loses anybody. That's not useful. All right, because you're rarely going to have a character that's have her face. All right, so all right, so unable to make it difficult can you can do that at night when nobody's around. But yeah, if you try to wear a ski mask into the middle of a shopping mall in broad daylight, and think people aren't going to notice, you're out of your freaking mind. All right. So let's see. All right. So let's do a new slide. How to avoid. So plan a growth arc that has the character deal with flaws head on. Alright, are not going to resolve the flaw. That is an important rule, because you know what? If your flaw is, oh, I'm scared of spiders and all, and then the very first time they have to encounter a spider, they're just like, oh, I'm no longer afraid of them. No, that's not a flaw. That's you being an idiot. Yeah, I'm legit terrified of the things. Like, if I saw a spider in my house, I'd probably just burn my house to the ground. Because that's, you got to be sure. Alright? So if you put me in a situation, yeah, I don't know, in order to save a friend's life, I have to let a tarantula crawl across my body. I am going to be screaming. I'm going to be gibbering. I'm going to be crying the whole time. I'm probably going to wet myself. Not gonna lie. I'm scared of the things. Yo. But, it isn't so bad. I'm going to be alright? And then you put me in another situation later where I've got to fight a car-sized tarantula in order to, I don't know, save my kid. I'm gonna be ugly crying the whole time because I'm gonna be terrified of that thing. But I've got motivation. You've got to raise the stakes. Alright? Each confrontation needs to get higher in stakes. Alright? Can't let them escape it. Alright? Without heavy cost. So, like in that example, if it was, I was trying to save my kid and I had to fight a, car-sized spider to do it, if I choose to run away, then the spider eats my kid. It is not a price I really want to pay. I'm going to fight that spider, but I'm going to cry and pee myself the whole time I'm doing it, because I'm scared of the things. Alright? Let's see. Use positive traits as flaws. So I was talking about, hot can be a flaw. Hot can be a flaw in that the character, if female, and let's admit it, it's usually going to be a female character, is never taken seriously, and um, let's see. This is the thing. This will get. I have seen this get on women's nerves. I have seen women that, in the right makeup and in the right outfit, are eights and nines. And when they want that kind of attention, I'm fixing myself something to drink here. When they want that kind of attention, they'll dress up nice. They'll go to a bar. But even without that, if they're in the grocery store or if they're just out and all, you know, or if they're doing a video chat or in a meeting or something, and they've got it toned down to where they're a seven, the guys in there can still sometimes get pretty stupid. And I have seen where a lawyer who was, beyond average in look, so, getting into hot territory, she was trying to explain what a contract meant to a client, and the client was just so hung up on the fact that this lawyer was hot. All he was doing was thinking about how much he wanted to have sex with her, and he just kept discounting everything that she was saying about the way the contract was written and how it was not to his advantage. And he was just like, yeah, no, just I'm fine with it this way. This is how I want it. And she made certain to, get documentation that he had agreed to this, and she was recording it. She covered her ass. And when he came back later and realized just how stupid he'd been, because he'd been thinking with the wrong head that day, yeah. But that gets annoying. And there are guys that will do that. I've watched it happen. I've seen it happen. Um, it also means that you'll tend to stand out. Again, if you're trying to get information and your goal is to not stand out while you get this information because you don't want the potential big bad to know that you're asking after, his weakness. But if you are just drop dead goddess gorgeous, then when the guards come around to ask all the people who you talk to what were you asking about, they're going to remember it. They're going to remember it. Whereas you get somebody who's average in looks and they go in and they're like, hey, what's up with the swamp over there, Oh yeah, man, that's the and all. Yeah, does it contain any kind of I don't know, some sort of special chemical that can be used in a magic potion that we know is the big boss's evil weakness? Yeah, it's got a load of it. Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, that's interesting. And then on to the next topic. Yeah, no, now you've got that information. And then when guards come in, it's like, hey, has anybody been asking about anything that could be of danger to our realm and all? And be like, no, I can't really think of it. It's not going to stand out in your mind. You may not even remember you had the conversation. So, okay. And then the void is that the character needs to change. It's going to depend on their flaws. It's not going to be the same for every character. Luke had to become both less whiny and more patient in order to become a Jedi Master. Vin has to become more willing to trust people and, willing to respect their decisions even when those decisions completely trust them to make the best decision for themselves and not try to micromanage and treat everybody as if they are chess pieces on a board and her job is to move them around and make certain that they're in the right place. No, so she's got a lot of growth. Ray, on the other hand, no growth, none whatsoever, flat. Okay, so those are some things that you can do. And what you can do is like, I just did this table here. You can do a features and flaws. You can go and you can buy a copy of a player's handbook for a gaming system like Dungeons and Dragons or like Vampire or Changeling the Dreaming or something. I like Changeling the Dreaming. All right, let's see. Oh yeah, there was one last thing I wanted to touch on. Alright, okay. Word of warning. Alright. If you use mental or emotional illnesses as a flaw, research it and talk to a real doctor with a real medical degree from a real place. I'm not talking about somebody who just searches on WebMD. I'm not talking about somebody who has watched a whole bunch of TikToks about dissociative identity disorder and now they have it. No. If you want to use that, ask what their experiences are. Ask what it's like for them when they're in a depressive episode. All right? You don't just think, oh, it just means that you're tired and you're sad and all. No, that's not depression. You want to understand how addicts think. Go to an addiction support group and listen. Okay. Um. Okay. You want to somebody who's dealing with survivor's guilt. Find somebody who's dealing with it. Talk to them and listen respectfully. Let try to tell them what there should be based on you've read something online or you watch somebody on TikTok who says they have it. No. All right. That's one thing that just really gets on my nerves, especially because I know that mass hysteria and social contagion are real things. So that's why all of a sudden you have people who are like, "Oh, I have DID." No, you don't. You don't have alters. You're not part of a system. You want to be because you think it will make you feel unique and special, but you haven't actually gone through the kind of trauma that causes your personality to fragment in order to protect yourself. And those alters only really exist. The whole point of therapy is integration. It's not to, keep everyone happy and all this. No, it's to reintegrate all the alter personalities into the core personality. So yeah, so guys, TikTok is not a place for research. All right, even if you can find actual sufferers on TikTok, you're going to waste so damn much time. Go talk to a counselor, talk to a social worker in your area who specializes in this. Get information there. Go and talk to people who are willing to discuss it with you and but listen to them, okay? Um, you know, that's something like Brandon Sanderson did with the Stormlight Archive. Is he's got a bunch of he's trying to demonstrate what PTSD is like or what depression is like or addiction. And he's like, "Am I being fair here?" And they work with him to help him get better. And that's something you have to do. So, like I said, if you're going to use something like that, research it. All right. Um, don't rely on quick checklists. That checklist is one thing that is just really getting a lot of modern writers into trouble, um, because it's lazy, but it's also racist. Remember that people are more than the stereotyping. So for instance, a lot of people are like, oh, I need to have strong, diverse characters. So I'm going to make a female character who's a lesbian, and she's going to be black, and she's going to have grown up in the ghetto, but she's going to have worked her ass off to get a great education, and she's going to be super, super smart. The chances of you finding somebody like that is just no. You are just making a checklist and then you're throwing in the worst fucking stereotypes. Alright? Make a character that's interesting, but everything that is physical about them should just be an interesting side note. Okay? Like in Mistborn, people are constantly talking about how tiny Vin is, and she is. She's short, she's small, she's not muscular. Um, but okay, is it she's small and she's female? She's not a character who's black, and that means that they have to be like this. No, black people are diverse. You've got black people who are just as big a nerd as I am. They love their Final Fantasy. They're all about it. They love video games and just want to fix their trucks and rebuild cars and just have some beers with their friends. And you got blacks that love to cook like my mom does. We're not black, we're white, but I mean, I'm saying that it's not your destiny. Okay, it does impact what some of your interactions with society are going to be, but aren't one way. Yeah, that's stereotyping. And a lot of people who do this, and they're horrible about it. Oh my god, they're so terrible about it. They're the first one to scream racist or sexist or bigoted. Like, I've just sit here and listened to you tell me how all black people are like this and how they all suffer from this and they all and I can think of 20 of them off the top of my head that I know personally that aren't at all like what you're saying. And the minute I open my mouth to say anything, you are going to call me some sort of Trump supporting, right wing, neo Nazi, blah, 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 blah. Fuck you, Irene Gallo. So just don't stereotype people. If you think they're terrible and they're not pedophiles, okay, like, I don't know. If you think that all Mormons, go see what they're actually up to. And then if you still hate them, fine, hate them. But at least your hatred will have some rationality to it. It won't be something where I can just look at it and be like, this person has clearly never set foot in an LDS church. Or, hey, you hate all people with the letter E in their names. Well, go talk to some of us. You know? Maybe we'll agree with you completely that the letter E should be completely excised from the English language. You don't know. You don't know our lives. But yeah. So, just don't revert to stereotype. Don't revert to that. That's just, it gets on my nerves. And I think that is going to do it for today.